hanging out in the farmhouse afterwards.
That's the only follow-up. There's no, like, repercussions to him being shot, though. He got shot in front of his
for no reason.
It's like, oh no.
Clearly, they pointed that out as being like an important moment. Like, oh, he might not make it, but clearly he did. Like that. That's clearly something that the editing team missed.
They were like, all right, set it up, and then it just drops.
Inconceivable!
Hello and welcome to Inconceivable. I'm William, and today with me I have Gordon, Mackenzie, and Alex.
Hello.
If you like what you hear, you can also feel free to watch us on YouTube to see what's going on in person. But for now, let's get right into it. We just got fresh off the theaters, as I so coined.
That's not a thing.
From Captain Marvel, which just came out yesterday. So really fresh. I think it was kind of fun last time. Let's have our one-word one-word reactions after seeing it. What would be for you, Gordon? You've actually seen it twice now.
Yeah. Watchable?
Watchable? Okay. Mackenzie?
Marvelous.
Dang it. That's what I was going to say.
I know you were going to. That's why I said it.
Only one person gets to say that.
Yeah, you can't see it again. Ha, gotcha.
Huh. That's mine, basically. I'm sorry. That's what I
one word?
I think I'd probably just say it was okay.
I'd say ditto then, because you took my word. But anyways.
Great job.
Yeah. So,
I knew he was going to.
I mean, I definitely enjoyed it. I tried to keep everything, I tried not to be too hype and also not too, I don't know. I tried to keep it nice and even going into this because I just wanted to enjoy the movie for what it is, you know? And honestly, it was a lot of fun seeing Nick Fury especially team up with him. And as far as Captain Marvel...
It was the best part of the movie besides the cat.
It's true, besides the cat. Captain Marvel, I definitely enjoyed her character. I felt like there could have been more... I felt like they could have done more because I felt like she was almost it was weird. Sometimes she felt flatter than other times. Like you would see in the movie itself of moments where it's like in some scenes she would be great.
It's like, oh, she's showing signs of life.
And then other times
she's alive. It's
almost like whenever she tried to be serious, she lost most of her personality, which is weird. Yeah. You know, because I like the character, but and I'm almost wondering if it has to do something with...
That's because she went dead face every time. It's like, this is my bad face.
Yeah. I mean, business. But I think it may have to do with the filming order, because they don't always film chronologically when they're filming a thing. So I'm wondering
if... they don't really get to get into character.
But but I feel like even that, they
try to stay consistent.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it was too pervasive throughout the movie to really have that be the reason. I think it was more of I think it was either a character choice or it's just Brie Larson. It's kind of like the Kristen Stewart effect, where her face is just like that.
It's just how it is.
There's not really.
This is just
you
your
can't
face.
really get around it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not anything against her acting because she's a very good actor. I don't know if you guys saw Room, but that was absolutely fantastic. So yeah.
That's like Kristen Stewart.
I'm just saying, I also have that problem of having a face that just goes monotone sometimes. So
your face goes monotone.
Well, I can't say certain things on the podcast.
I've never seen it like that.
Well, this is...
Was that it right there?
You've seen it.
No,
for those listening, that was my face.
What did you think of Captain Marvel as the character, Mackenzie?
She was okay. I don't know. I'm probably just a little biased.
You're not as much as a fan as you wanted to be?
No, I don't know. I like the other Avengers characters better.
Okay. So it's almost like comparing with the other.
Yeah, I don't know. She's so overpowered. And I'm like, do I really want her in the next Avengers show? And she's just walking around with her glowing eyes and her floating hair. And I'm just like, oh, man.
Well, one thing I will say is that I feel like every Marvel character going into Avengers has a nerf effect. I mean, look at Thor in his recent movie with Ragnarok. He was super powerful.
Yeah, but Thor's amazing.
And then you put him into Avengers. Apparently he's not a one man show anymore. So now they gotta tone him down.
But then also it was not super consistent with fighting because she kicks all these dudes' butts on the first ship or whatever to like escape from them, and then she comes across the one guy on the train, and it's like, oh, it's so hard. And she couldn't. I'm like, are you kidding me? It's one guy.
To be fair, there's also civilians, and they're on a moving train, so she might have not wanted to like hurt anybody else.
I'm
No,
only
talking
using
about when she was on top of the
0.1% of my
train.
power.
Yeah, and she's just like barely even doing anything.
Yeah, that's
I was
fair.
like, come on. And she's acting like, oh, I'm getting so thrown around. And I'm like, you just kicked like 50 guys to the curb and you can handle one dude?
In a lot
He's
of
not super
ways, this
special.
kind of reminded me, character-wise, reminded me of Black Panther. Because again, I love Black Panther, and I forget, I'm spacing on his name, but the guy who plays Black
Chadwick Boseman.
Chadwick Boseman. I like him, but again, sometimes I feel like he would also fall a little bit flat in some scenes. Like,
Yeah, he just kind of gets lost in the shuffle.
yeah, and especially when you've got performances like with Killmonger in that, where he was vibrant through the entire thing, it kind of just really almost exploited him as how flat he was. And I think in the same way, I mean, when you've got Samuel Jackson, who's always such a colorful actor, it's hard to
he's
kind of
amazing.
compete with that when he's, the person that you're like in tandem with.
Yeah, but I feel like even
just had this
then,
Coulson.
it's not. It doesn't justify how, like, she just came across as kind of lifeless. Like you see flashes of it.
Yeah, well,
you didn't connect with the
if you
character.
go to the beginning,
Yeah.
she has a lot of personality. Like when she's talking to Jude Law's character, I forget his name.
Yeah.
Like, I was really
The first
enjoying that
20
'cause
minutes,
she was
yeah.
snarky. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is
It
like
started off
she's
strong.
fun, and then something
I
just
noticed
happens
it
and
most
she's not
there, and then also when she started to warm up back to her past self with her friend back at Planet 32, whatever.
C-53, I don't know.
C-53, whatever.
Yeah,
But and I felt like there was some moments there too that was also really great, especially as she was interacting. I felt like when the plot really got like serious, she almost like she almost changed her personality to like match the seriousness of it. And I feel like if you I think it may also be the fault that sometimes when we see someone like Spider-Man be snarky, that still continues in the seriousness.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
kind of
and
that
that's the best
balance.
part.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe they're just trying to stray away from that because that's what they always do.
Right.
But
Well,
I kind of
No, they still had.
But I
feel
feel
like
still
she
like
humor
lost
like
all
that, though.
character as soon as some bad guy showed up. And I'm like, come on.
well, one thing is that I feel like they were really trying to convey that this person has like a big heart for all the stuff that she's doing, and she wants to know everything that's going on. But I feel like that part of her character wasn't really like being shown to us as it was being told to us.
Yeah, but they wanted her to be emotional.
One of the difficult challenges that they had was they were trying to show her backstory along with her figuring it out for herself, which kind of, it felt like it bogged down the story a little bit and her character itself, because it didn't feel like her character was developing anymore. She's like, oh, I'm realizing stuff, but it didn't seem to do much more after that. Just be like,
Right.
oh, I guess this is who I used to be. But
If she started out kind of like with that flatness, and then kind of like as she learned more about herself, became more colorful personality, that would actually have been amazing. Because then you would see how the past experiences impact her and how like this has changed her as a person.
She
You know?
probably wasn't even
would've-
trying to be expressionist, it's just how it came across.
Or yeah,
maybe
that's
it
what
would have
we're
made more
saying,
sense that way, because like she's lost all of her memories basically.
Exactly, so she wouldn't be the same person.
So
you know?
someone was making the point that, I know we said we didn't want to talk about like the events surrounding the movie, but someone was making the point that when the topic of her being kind of expressionless in the trailer came up, that like she's been brainwashed and pretty heavily so, and that's where a lot of that comes from. It doesn't really pan out in the movie because she's most vibrant immediately afterwards.
Yeah.
And also,
But the point they were making is that Winter Soldier is also fairly expressionless in Winter Soldier. But I feel like even then, when he's expressionless, it's like specific.
Yeah,
Like
and it's
there's
like he's
still
actually
something
brainwashed,
there.
yeah.
To connect with, even though he has like no emotion on his face, but it's like specifically no emotion on his face, not I don't have an expression to show you.
to be fair, half the time he did have a mask on when he was fighting. So
You guys tuck your eyes.
yeah,
Well-
he did talk with his eyes.
Another thing, because like I said, I totally agree with your point of like I think that would have came across better on screen if the 21st minutes wasn't some of her best performance on screen. You know, I feel like that right there is some of the biggest problem. I think it would have been really powerful to see as she's finding out who she is as a person to become more of a vibrant character, and I think that's how you naturally develop someone as a character to be likable.
Yeah.
You know, because then you take that journey with them, and you feel like you're a part of that journey, and that's how you like characters. But when you kind of go back and forth about where this person is personality wise, it's harder to connect to the character, and naturally you're going to have problems when you're watching the movie, you know?
So if the storyline is disjointed, your connection to the character isn't going to be as solid, is kind of what you're saying.
Yeah. I think that that's naturally how good characters are made. There's development, and it's consistent, and it's something that the viewers can take part of.
I thought the dialogue as well was kind of weak, to be honest. And I feel like if the dialogue itself was stronger, then it would have been easier to connect with the characters as well.
Something that I noticed earlier, I don't know if it was specifically because she was in the whole intelligence thing, whatever it was called. It was just felt like the editing was so quick, like you go from them saying and then responding right away very quickly, and it just felt off, like somebody edited it a little too close together for them to not think about their response, basically.
Like they didn't have time to breathe, like let the scene
exactly.
kind of that
And I think that might have added possibly to the difficulty of like not having enough emotion behind it.
Right. I do remember thinking that there wasn't enough, like the timing of everything was really strange.
Yeah, including
like,
the flashbacks.
Right, and
I was really confused it took me a good 2 minutes to figure out what was going on during that, and I was like, what kind of timey-wimey stuff is this? And there was, she's being brainwashed as we speak. I got it.
But even I've seen that done like way more concisely, and like giving you like just enough so that there's something strange going on, but also like the scene where she walks into the bar and she sees like little glimpses of like events and like memories and stuff. Like I've seen that done significantly better in other movies, and it gives more weight to like what she's experiencing.
Yeah. Okay.
Instead of
I get
no
that.
expression.
I also thought that the movie was like really dark at times. Like I couldn't see what was going on.
Really?
It was during fight
kind of murky.
Yeah, it was during fight scenes. A lot of the time there'd be close-ups during the fight scene, so you wouldn't know who was fighting who. And because it was so dark, it just made it a lot worse. And it'd be cutting from scene to scene. It was just it didn't.
Well, the only reason I would
breathe.
say I don't agree with that is because we have the comparison of Black Panther in that
That was dark
fight
too.
sequence.
You couldn't see anything.
I really couldn't tell what was going on during that last fight sequence, and I literally
help
had to
that,
be
like,
like, what's
other
going on?
costumes are
I never had that moment here. I don't remember there being anything that was hard to put out, and I don't remember struggling to see any of the fight
They
scenes
did.
personally.
I think they
But-
did pretty well when she's flying around and shooting the other ships that are coming
Because
towards
she's
her.
actually glowing.
Yeah, she's glowing, so I can actually see what's going on. I know who she is.
But even then, the choreography of, especially when they send out like the individual fighters, I feel like this is something that I've been trying to process over the course of a few movies, and I think I've kind of nailed onto it. When your choreography is really solid, you can do wide shots and show everything that's happening. When you don't have like a really tightly choreographed fight scene, you have to be in close so people can't really tell what's going on, so
They
it
can't
looks
tell
more
you.
interesting.
Yeah, you're
So
hiding
like
your mistakes.
if you're looking at John Wick or the Russo brothers' other movies, they can have like a full shot. You can have longer shots because the choreography is so tight that you can look at everything that's going on and it still looks impressive on screen.
Yeah, and
I feel like the action in this movie was kind of muddy. Like you couldn't really tell what was going on. And I think that's by design.
I think I did enjoy the action sequences, though. I felt like the powers was something was unique. I felt like I did enjoy seeing Captain Marvel's powers, especially.
I thought, the powers were definitely very cool.
I liked her best when she was glowing.
Yeah, she's pretty cool when she's glowing. But
And with the helmet.
the helmet when she's glowing and she has her actual colors on, that's awesome. One of the things I didn't appreciate though was that how quickly she was able to utilize her powers after she went like full.
When she took off the limiter.
Like she just
basically
knew.
she learns how to fly right away. She's doing all these crazy things, and
Well, she
I
did.
could kind of see that because of adrenaline. Like you're already falling through the sky,
I
and
guess.
suddenly you're just like, I have this power.
yeah, but
Jets.
her eyes are closed the entire time, and then she opens them, and then she's like, "Oh, I know I can fly now." It's like,
That being said,
What?
I feel like that's just kind of more commonplace in movies, and it's like at this point in the movie, it's more powerful to have that moment of now I unleash my full power that rather than having another sequence when you're learning, because I feel like the learning period of the movie.
we don't have a training montage at the end of the movie.
Think of Matrix. When Neo realized that he's the one, it doesn't take him much time to unleash his full power. If you had another sequence in the third act of, now I've got to learn how to like
wasn't
truly
there a
unleash
montage?
him.
no, but
for
like
that,
even
though.
if there was a moment when she was on the ship and she was glowing, and then her feet lifted off the ground, like she started to realize,
she
I'm able to
slammed
levitate.
face
That means I
first
can
into the
fly
wall.
now. If they had something like
But
that,
the thing is, they did have a moment, or the entire ship sequence after she busts out of the AI. She is still trying to like figure out how to do things. Like it's kind of like in Captain America.
Yeah.
After
there's
he
also the
becomes super powered, he's like running around and he doesn't know what his body
falls
does.
through a window.
Like he careens through a window. He jumps over a fence instead of like leaping up onto the top of it, like completely over. He has no control of his body because he doesn't know what it can do. So she's still trying to figure out like how everything works in the fight scene that happens afterwards.
For the flying thing, even it's like when she was like trying to escape from the guys, and she busted a hole in the side of the ship, and they all get sucked out, and she's just hanging on, and then she like jets herself back into the ship. Like
she did. But she did do that earlier on in the
she
movie.
can like propel herself
that's fair.
forward.
So if she figures out how to control the energy leaving her body and not just from her hands, it should be pretty straightforward. Once she's
Like
like
what she knows to do already.
once she achieved like when she's falling, she has to like center herself and like focus, and then she can like shoot energy out from her entire body.
Her entire body, including her hair. She has super hair.
Let's talk about some of the other characters that we've seen in the movie. I actually really enjoyed the original team of the.
I love Coulson.
Coulson's a good boy.
I mean, yes, Coulson, but
Coulson.
I'm talking about the original team with Captain Marvel, the green, the people,
the Kree.
Oh.
the Kree. Thank you.
I
they
did
came
like
across nice
them.
to begin
I-
with.
Then I couldn't like
Yeah,
them.
well, I like that they were all. I think one failure. I think a good sign that you've built good characters if you can remember their names. I can't remember their names,
It
but
was also weird.
but I do remember each one individually as far as their looks goes, and I like how they had like their
Especially the
special like powers and their roles, and I thought that I actually really enjoyed that aspect of it. It was, I didn't know how I felt about now they're bad guys in the end. Like it made sense, but I was just like,
it switched too quickly, I think.
But the thing is, it wasn't. I'm not sure that it could be said that those guys were bad guys.
right, they're just kind
Like
of
they were
following orders.
soldiers.
Yeah.
Which not an excuse, but if you're operating under faulty information, they're not necessarily like terrible people. But I don't know. Like
I got the vibe off of the girl with the dreads that she kind of knew all along. Well, she didn't know all along. Yeah, she was there.
Yeah, no, of course she knew.
Did
but
it seem like they
It
were
didn't
in
seem
on
like bearded fellow. He didn't seem like he was a part of it.
No.
I think he was kind of remorseful. Him or the other guy.
The other guy
other
from the
blue guy.
beginning?
Yeah, the guy with the curly hair.
Yeah. I definitely thought that the villain in the end turned out to be more interesting than what was originally pitched as the villain, which I think is by design.
I thought his bit at the end though was a bit on the nose.
It was really over the top. He was like, "Come on, just take. I'm gonna put my gun down.
your
My
true
weapons that are
power."
good.
Prove to me.
I was like, as I was seeing,
anything to
Like
you.
he's trying so much."
I was like, I guess what else would you do? Because you literally just saw Captain Marvel turn back all these ships, and now you're just gonna 1v1 and just expect something.
1v1.
The problem is that he says you let emotion get in your way all the time, and then
But
he
she's just
goes
sitting there
on
just
and
like,
he's just like,
no expression.
"Come on, I can take you on." He's
Well,
like
clear-
emotion cloud his judgment. I'm just like,
no, he's
boy,
trying,
no,
he's
he's-
trying to use her emotion against her, but she
Yeah.
had none, so
Oh, yikes!
she's just standing there dead face.
Oh,
I didn't need to.
No, I think
prove
that's the only
anything
thing that
to
he could have
you.
done. I don't know what else he would have done other than surrender. Because he's just trying to, it's like, why? And I'm glad that she didn't fall for it, because otherwise I'd be like, that was really dumb. Like, why would you need to like?
But it would have been so cool to have an actual like really good final fight, I guess. But I also did feel like the third.
No, I would have been way more annoyed with the fact that she didn't use her powers and just decide to fist fight all of a sudden for no reason. That's such a classic, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I would have been really annoyed if that was the case.
At this point, I just get kind of tired with a lot of gags that Marvel has in their movies, just for the sake of like, oh, surprise, this happens,
I thought it was interesting because I was getting hints of it, but I never really put it together till the end with. Wow, I'm terrible at names this episode.
What color were they?
What color were they?
Were they blue?
It's a fair
The
question.
blue guy from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yondu
Or
Ronan?
No,
The
not
guy who
Yondu.
whistles?
Ronan. Because first off, I noticed one of his henchmen that we see later on, who's a part of the team at first, which
Yeah.
I thought was a nice tidbit. But also, the ships look similar to his. And I was like, those kind of look similar to Ronan's ships.
Okay.
But I guess it's the Marvel Universe, so
kinda
I guess
like
it makes sense that they
Twizzlers.
like the same designs, whatever. But no, it's the same
And then he
thing.
shows up, but then you're like, okay.
I guess he's here,
Yeah, well, as soon as that
felt like
happened,
an-
it was like, oh, well, I don't think I like these guys anymore because clearly they're working for the wrong people.
He felt like an afterthought, honestly.
He looked weird as hell. Like, he didn't look like...
He didn't have the black.
Obviously, he's
marks
supposed
on
to
his
be
face.
a lot younger, but he also, like, I don't think his eyes were the same either. Like, I remember them being, like,
They
a
were
different
black?
color.
I get trying to make him look
They
younger,
changed
but I
when
don't
he-
think that they made him look almost cheaper.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, they did change when he got the Infinity Stone later on. in
Oh,
Guardians of the
yeah, you're
Galaxy.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, that's
so they went purple and black.
it's true.
fair enough.
So
Oof.
not
That's
blue.
probably why.
Yeah, maybe because he doesn't have any Infinity Stone, so he just looks weak.
Boy, you look weak now.
That's why he retreated. He's like, I'm good. I need that stone first.
What did you guys think of the soundtrack?
forgettable. It's like
I'm
a generic.
just a girl. No. I was
that
like, are
frustrated
you
me so
kidding
much.
me?
It's like
like
they're,
songs
they're
to
trying the
play.
whole
There's
Guardians of the
so
Galaxy
many
thing,
female
but it
and
doesn't.
like 90s pop or rock
And you
songs that
chose
you could,
I'm just a girl.
by no doubt.
Seriously.
It just felt
Give me a break.
so out of place, and it didn't even feel like a fight
It didn't-
song. Like
it
there were
didn't
so
match with
many
it at all. It
songs
Like,
they
even
could
if you
use.
want a
What really
fun
annoyed
fight
me
song, like, it
was-
doesn't even have to be that serious, but you could have picked anything else.
But the way it started, it's like it's playing the music, and I'm like, okay, it's gonna play that song, and then like right as she starts singing, they make a bunch of noise, and it's like you can't even hear
Well-
anything, and it doesn't line up. It just was weird.
The only time that I was
thought it was
particularly
weird.
annoyed is
It
when
did
they
not
played the
matter.
Nirvana song. I was like, because you hear it coming and you know the first lyrics, you're like, oh, jeez. Like, it was kind of on the nose, and I felt like they were just like, let's repeat Guardians of the Galaxies with throwback songs, which is all fine and good, but Guardians of the Galaxy never had songs that was
Guardians
this
of the
much on
Galaxy
the
had
nose.
the best.
One of the
like,
things is
playlist
that
ever.
with the one of the things that I noticed was that if they had songs that were playing as the soundtrack that they also had playing in the movie, like if they had the radio going or
Yeah.
something like that, that's okay. That made sense. You know, I was like, okay, it's the 90s, let's have a little bit of fun. But then with the fight scene later on where they started playing that song, I don't think there's any radio playing or something. Anything.
And they literally had, there was
just
literally a
pops out.
jukebox that a guy smashes into that they
Yeah.
could have properly used for that kind of gag, but
Yeah.
they didn't use it.
Yeah.
I do wonder if this. I did like some of the. That being said, the song ones were kind of a miss, which is a shame. But I did appreciate the other '90s callback. Like when the computer was loading, it's like, what are we waiting for? It's like, it's loaded.
They should have stopped at 99% and just waited for like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
That would have been perfect.
That's true.
That would have been
That
good.
is true. I did like when she was using the internet for the first time. She's like doing this.
That's what my dad types.
I don't remember that. Rest in peace, Blockbuster, by the way.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I think that I liked the other 90s nods, but the song ones, which can be the most powerful, were just kind of out of place and too much on the nose. You know.
Do you think that has more to do with the songs they chose, or do you think it's the fact that, or do you think it's because the songs from the 90s are less memorable than songs from other decades?
Oof. Don't attack my childhood like this.
I'm
No,
curious.
the 80s music is where it's at.
Yeah.
I think
Get on my
that's a high
level.
I will
point.
say that they are. I think that it isn't quite time for the 90s to come back, and I feel like they're either ahead of the game
I
or
don't
it's
think
just
it's
not
ever
time.
time for the 90s to
See,
come
it's
back.
just it's not. It can't compare to the '80s soundtracks
Well,
or stuff before it.
I will say that what I feel like, the music should make you feel something. It shouldn't have to tell you something. And I feel like all the songs
It
are
shouldn't
trying
have
to
to tell you that
something.
I'm just a girl.
The only moment where I started to feel chills was when she started to glow and her eyes was burning bright. Like I was getting chills like that.
Jumping off of that note, the special effects in this movie were crazy good.
Including the CGI on their faces to make them look younger.
Holy
I
crap.
thought the cat was great. The way they did everything with the cat was just like the best.
Everything about the cat.
Everything about the cat.
Okay. Goose the cat, who is named after Goose from Top Gun, which is awesome.
I just think of Goose Wayne. That's all I can think of.
What?
Goose Wayne.
I know who you're talking about.
But yeah,
That's what I'm talking about.
going back to Goose, like I really liked his character. I'm like, no, he's just a normal cat. I appreciate him just being a normal cat in space. And he's like, I'm out of my depth, but I'm still a cat. I'm gonna walk
That was
around
just
anywhere.
hilarious.
And then it proceeds to actually be like a monster with tentacles that comes out of its mouth. And then
But that just made it more cute.
no, it didn't. It was stupid. It felt like it was lazy writing, honestly.
I think that's actually like the character from the comics. It is like an alien.
Yeah, it was just. I was real. I would have been so satisfied if it was just a regular cat, just throughout the entire movie. I'm like, yeah, I'll go with that.
That's fine.
I was fine with either way.
No,
I liked it.
but the part that made me hate it. I want to love Goose, I really do, but I can't, is the fact that Goose scratched out Nick Fury's eye, and that's
How
the
is that?
reason
How
why
is his eye?
he has one eye. I'm like, that's
It
the
was,
reason.
it was literally a theory in a
It was a
comment
meme.
section.
That's all it was. It was a meme on in the internet, and I don't. The
put it
fact
in
that it's
the movie.
real, it's like
No.
that's
I
so.
think, wait, did they really take that
so
from like
lazy.
people saying?
I don't know
I
if
don't
they-
think they actually took
Okay.
it.
They were like, this will be a great idea.
It's like, no, this is a joke. And then the fact that Nick Fury's eye being gouged out
To be
is
fair,
a joke.
it was an alien cat.
I don't care. I don't care. It was still he scratched
Maybe
with
he got cat
claws.
scratch fever.
He said like, I wasn't gonna
that,
heal.
that definitely wasn't normal. Like
No.
because he got scratched and he's like, it'll be fine. It's just a cat. And they're like,
It's like, well, it's
no.
not just a cat.
Yeah, and it
So I feel
wasn't
like
that
that
bad to
verified.
begin
And you
with,
see
and
his
it got
scars. They're like
worse.
real scars. It's not
Why
like cat
on-
scratches are very thin. Like that's like an actual.
So the only reason that I think Nick Fury would hold on to that cat would be to get the Tesseract. Otherwise, I'd try to get it as far away from me as possible. If it
But
clawed
he
out one of my
loved it.
eyes.
yeah.
He loves that cat.
You just don't like cats, as
No,
what I'm getting
oh,
here.
don't you dare! Don't you dare!
I thought
Cats
it was
are great.
I thought it was funny because it's a great because of course Nick will never come forward as saying that a cat scratched my eye. He's like it was perfect when they had Coulson come up. So
What's
like
the cat actually called? The name of the cat?
Chewy.
No,
what?
it's
Goose?
Goose.
Yeah.
It's called Goose in
It's
this.
called Goose,
Originally,
but it's Chewy in the comics.
yeah.
Okay, but what is the name of the creature it is?
Oh.
Is that what it is in the comics?
No idea.
It was like it's like K something.
I will say I did appreciate Ben Mendelsohn's
look it up.
character because he plays such a generic bad guy in so many movies, and having this one was just like a fresh take. Him playing playing the Skrull who's just trying to get back home to his family and stuff. I was like,
That was awesome.
I actually appreciate this. He does such a good character.
Also, I just realized that so he got shot last second, of course.
Yeah, we
before
wondered,
they're
like,
leaving.
is that gonna affect anything?
Yeah, did we ever come back to that, or they're just like?
No, he shows up the next episode. It's the next scene with like a
He
sweater
could say
and a
it was
hoodie.
a cat. He could say it was a
Did they literally forget to put in
alien
that
creature.
scene where like he's either struggling or everything's like what happened
It's like,
there?
is this supposed to? Because he got shot right in front
We
of
got
his
no
kids.
closure.
So
yeah,
you're like,
Gordon,
is he gonna die?
You've seen it twice. Verify with us. So at the last second, father-son moment in the ship as they're taking off.
Yeah.
He gets shot at the last second
Yeah.
before they take off. Did we ever get a follow-up scene to that?
No, I don't. Well, no, yeah, we did because they were all hanging out in the farmhouse afterwards.
That's the only follow-up. There's no like repercussions to him being shot though. He got
Yeah,
shot
he
in
got
front of
shot
his
for no
kid.
reason.
It's like, oh no.
Clearly, they
Let's
pointed that
mortify
out as
Timothy.
being like an important moment. Like, oh, he might
Yeah.
not make it, but clearly he did. Like that. That's clearly something that the editing team missed.
They were like, all right, set it up, and then it just drops.
Yeah. Hopefully people forget that part.
basically.
But they kept it in the movie for some reason.
Yeah. I don't.
Yeah, so I think that's a real mistake there because it's like, crap, don't tell me the father's gonna die, but we just never found out. So that's kind of a real miss right there. So
Yeah. I also feel like I don't know how they would have done it, but I feel like if they had kept the antagonism between the Skrulls and the heroes like going further, like somehow they caught up to them, and then they forced them to take, like, we're going to modify the ship, you're going to come with us, we're going to go to this place, you're going to show us where it is, and like they forced them to do that, and then they get to the station, and then you have the twist of like, not only are we refugees and trying to run away from the Kree because they're trying to wipe us out, but also like, this is why, like, this is my family that I'm trying to protect from all these people, and I feel like that could have had more of an impact if they'd done it that way.
Yeah, it's funny how rational he was in actually telling him about it beforehand. It's like, wow, movies usually don't do that. They just
seem extraordinarily chill about this after having, tried to murder everybody.
Yeah, they were fighting and trying to kill each other, right? They said shoot to kill. Dead or alive, that's what they said.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
Curious.
Did like a new director come in halfway and change the movie again?
No, this was there was a married couple that.
Oh, okay.
But there are 5 writing credits.
Holy crap!
On this movie.
Yeah.
Which I honestly I don't
a little
know
too
a
much
lot.
teamwork there.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about like the production process, but I feel like if you have too many writers on a project, it's not a good
It's gonna
thing.
get bogged
I would
down,
not want more
especially
than,
for a
like,
large
5
movie like this.
maybe 2.
It didn't. That being said, it didn't feel too messy. I felt like there was parts that could have been
I've
tighter,
seen-
but I didn't feel like, wow, I feel like this place is like really
It
organized.
didn't feel like completely out of whack.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Honestly, with 5 writers, you couldn't have come up with like tighter dialogue.
That's true.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
dialogue
That's
was a
the thing
hit or
that
miss
bothers me the
sometimes.
most about like specific movies. It's like, man, the dialogue in these movies is not great.
It was
and
just kind of cliche.
there's just, I feel like there's no excuse at this point to have bad action scenes and bad dialogue. Like, if you have money, you should be able to like.
Well, see, that's
Just
the thing.
watch
Is that
other
it's
movies
so
and
hard.
see how they do it.
It's so hard in these past like years worth of Marvel movies, like kind of like judging them almost fairly. Because I was just talking about how I think Moana was a good Disney movie, a good Disney movie.
or a good movie, but not a good Disney movie.
I thought Moana was a great movie, but only good by Disney standards. And I think that Marvel movies, especially after Infinity War,
Yeah.
the bar is just set on a different level than other like action movies and stuff like that. Like,
fair.
here's the thing: if I was to compare Captain Marvel and Aquaman, I'd say they're on the same level. But
Aquaman's
Aquaman,
better.
I would
She's
say
right.
that
I don't even like DC
was
and
more
Aquaman's
exciting
better.
because it's like, oh, yes, a good DC movie. But Marvel is like, but they could have done this because we all know the stuff that they could have done. But Aquaman, it's like, this is one of the best things that you've done. Congratulations, and not many complaints. But here it's like, we know what you can do, and we feel like you were, you could have put
You'll
more into
let
it.
us down.
Yeah.
I guess you could say Aquaman flowed better.
Oh, you trying to throw puns at me? I see what you doing here.
You're coming to my house.
Making my puns. Mackenzie
We
started
live in
it.
the same house.
Let's finish it off with. Sorry, go on.
Lazy writing. Him figuring out the Avengers name by looking at her airplane and it having the word Avenger on it. I'm just like, the Protector Initiative. No,
Well-
that doesn't sound right. Oh, look at this picture. Enhance, Avengers. Oh, maybe we should use that instead. I'm just like,
Well,
I was really sad about the origin of his eye and the origin of the Avengers name.
those are the 2 biggest things,
Yeah.
my biggest
Oh,
complaints.
well, that's convenient.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of goes into what I was actually about to say, which is the fact that we have the end credits scene with Captain Marvel obviously coming in touch with them.
Rest
By the
in
way,
peace, Steve Rogers' beard.
the scenes before that, were those scenes included in the Endgame trailer?
No,
I feel like, okay, maybe it's just me.
because he was clean shaven in those.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So obviously, surprise, surprise, we know Captain Marvel is going to be part of the Avengers movie.
We did not know that she was going to show up on Earth.
Yeah.
though.
So we basically know from the get-go we're going to get Captain Marvel. So I'm assuming there's going to be a period of time between now and when the next movie starts timeline-wise.
There's just too many
I think
dead
it's 7
Avengers.
years.
7 years.
It's
Okay.
supposed to be. It's supposed to be a while.
Wow.
7 years.
The other thing is, this hasn't been confirmed, but there's a rumor going around that depending on how Captain Marvel does, her role, like there are 2 cuts of Endgame.
Oh.
that depending on how
really?
well Captain Marvel does in theaters, she could have like a greater or lesser presence in the movie.
Do the
I hope it's
Russos
a lesser presence, honestly.
Do the Russo
I don't
brothers
want her
have
to be the
control,
main one.
or does the studio?
I think
If
it's
she
the
starts
studio.
taking over
Crap.
my classic characters, my boys, then
Well, see, here's my concerns. Is that one,
So selfish.
she could be potentially, and this is a common complaint. She could be potentially overpowered. We'll see how that plays out, because we've had what seemed like overpowered people come into the Avengers and
she's
it being
basically
flattened
Superman.
out.
Like
He's
Vision.
overpowered.
Yeah, like Vision, right? Totally
Or
nerfed.
Wanda.
And then
So
the
nerfed.
second thing is that I think that as this
Yes.
is likely the movie that we see some characters exiting their roles, I feel like those people should be given the priority. As Captain Marvel's clearly the future, but let's give the moment that these people deserve to finish off their roles, and then we roll into Captain Marvel and Spider-Man and all the new characters that we're seeing coming into this new era of Marvel. So I think like definitely happy to have Captain Marvel on board, but just make sure that all the original characters have breathing room and it's not Captain Marvel America. I mean, they did do it with Black Panther. You know, Black Panther was a huge hit, and Black Panther was obviously included into Infinity War, and he was
but
put
he
in
wasn't
rightfully
too
so.
intense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see that same treatment for Captain Marvel.
Yeah,
Input
I
it
don't
in,
want her put
valuable,
above
but
everybody
not
else
just
because
taking
she's
over.
the brand new girl superhero.
Yeah.
Like, it's annoying. I like the people who are already there.
Yeah, I think that the
You
OG
cannot trump my Captain America.
the OG Avengers need to have a proper send off, and I don't
Yeah.
want like newer
Right.
characters.
Yeah,
to
and I
take
want
away from that.
I want to say that specifically because it's not that I don't want to see more Captain Marvel. It's just I want to make sure these people get their proper send off, and I don't want a new character coming in changing that just because we had a successful movie come along. You
There's
know?
only room for one captain. Just saying.
Yeah, why is she called Captain again? Was she an actual captain?
They never brought that up throughout the entire movie. I was waiting for like the name recognition part where she's like, "I'm Captain Marvel." You know, like they all
Marvel,
do it.
that's a
It
good
never
name.
happened.
Captain Marvel.
So here's the thing. I think it says Captain on her plane.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah,
I
it had something
don't
to do
remember
with her.
specifically.
Like,
I think it was like Captain Carol,
And
Avenger,
and it's
Danvers.
Marvel because of the
Yep.
Marvel.
So
but
she probably like.
But they never,
decided
like,
to carry
made
on
that
the legacy.
They did change.
They really didn't.
Yeah, they did change Marvel's character too, because that used to be the original Captain Marvel, who was a dude. So, and there's an old lady.
gotta make it PC. Gotta make it
I will
PC.
say that in all the like comparatively to other films, I like this probably somewhere between 10 and 5 in the rankings. Somewhere just outside that top 5, but not outside of the top 10.
Really?
Yeah, I'd say
Okay.
I'd probably put it. I can't like
I
think
mean,
of the exact link, but I'd probably put it 8.
Remember that we have 21 movies at this
Yeah,
point.
I don't see.
No, I
it-
know. Yeah, I know.
So you'd put it.
I'd
you'd
probably
put
like
it-
8
you'd
or
put
9.
You'd put it in the top 10.
Just like like 8 or 9. I
I'd say
wouldn't put it
it's-
like that far out.
It's
but-
better than the first two Thor movies and the Incredible Hulk and Iron Man 2.
Yep. I would say better than Iron Man 3.
Excuse me.
What? Iron Man 2? You like Iron Man 2?
And
Like all Iron
I would
Man.
say it's definitely better. As not to diss you, I still think it's better than the original Captain America. I didn't like that one too much.
Oh, get out of there.
But
You're
Winter
coming to
Sol-
my house!
Dishonor on you. Dishonor on your car.
Dishonor on your cow.
And I feel like this one kind of falls along similar lines as Black Panther, because Black Panther had some really awesome moments and some really unique stuff, but overall as a movie, again, not that it's a bad movie,
Just
but
kinda-
Marvel standards kind of lacking in some areas.
It's by the
bland.
numbers a lot. Like, well, there's a lot of Marvel movies that are just by the numbers, and that's one of the problems with origin stories. But still, it's just you can do stuff that is fresh when it comes to origin stories. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy did it, and they had like 6 characters, 5
Yeah.
or 6 characters.
That's like Guardians of the Galaxy is a good example of something that had the whole package. You know, I feel like this did have great moments, but also had There was never a moment where I was like, "Wow, I hate this movie." I just felt like there was moments that could have been improved a lot better, especially for Marvel standards. You know,
I think there's a issue right now with Disney generally, and like Marvel and Lucasfilm in particular, that they want things that are safe.
yeah.
And like the only people that seem to be able to make the movies that they want to make are the Russo brothers. Does that sound right? So the other
Taika Waititi.
Taika Waititi.
My boy.
And
Like they have to earn that. They have to earn the right to be unique.
right,
you know?
but the thing is, they pick like lesser, like lower tier directors that they can have control over, so that they can micromanage everything and like not have the directors push back against them. So Patty Jenkins, who directed Wonder Woman, was initially slated to direct Thor: The Dark World, and she had a very specific like story that she wanted to tell. Like very specific. Like she knew exactly what story she wanted to tell, and she like outlined it for them and everything.
A solid movie, Thor: The Dark World. What?
Right. And so they didn't particularly like the direction that it was going, so they fired her. Which was,
Ouch.
and the thing is, one of the main reasons why Natalie Portman signed on to do Thor: The Dark World, because she wasn't super thrilled with the original Thor, was because Patty Jenkins was, slated to direct, and she was on board with that.
Yeah.
And that's actually why Natalie Portman is no longer in the MCU, because Thor: The Dark World was not directed by Patty Jenkins.
And then the time, she left, and then the third movie was good.
Yeah.
Not because of her leaving, but it kind of sucks for her, because she's like, yeah, I'm not going to be in this anymore.
Well, I
We're
mean,
going down a path I can't follow.
Here we go.
I think she's fine.
Yeah, she's fine.
But there's like a narrative inconsistency there that
I am disappointed with a lot of the directions that the studio has gone in taking directors away from the projects.
Ant-Man.
Yeah.
My
goodness. What's the name of the hot fast guy?
Edgar Wright.
Edgar Wright. I liked the Ant-Man movie, but
it could.
Edgar Wright has a
it
very
could have been amazing.
Yeah.
Right, but they didn't give him full control, and that's why he left.
And Chris Lord and Phil Miller. No, Phil.
That was
Phil
Solo
Lord and
Star
Chris
Wars
Miller is Solo. Yeah, they also got fired because they
Disney.
like their vision didn't line up with what Disney wanted.
I think Disney, out of all the companies, Disney should be the one to afford risks, right? And they're just not doing it that much, And I definitely felt like this could have been more unique. I definitely loved having a real like Marvel female protagonist, and that was very refreshing to see. However, besides that, I feel like they weren't doing her any favors.
Yeah,
I felt like they could have done so much more for her, and some moments were great, and some moments were like, "What's going on here?"
I saw an article where the headline was like, "Finally, female fans have a mediocre superhero movie for them."
Yeah.
Oh.
That's rough. I love it. And once again, don't really like DC, but Wonder Woman did it better.
Wonder
if we're talking
Woman-
like female,
If we're talking female superhero movies, Wonder Woman is definitely
she had a better character and
She
just
had
a
me
way
shook.
better mover.
Yeah,
I had chills from that movie. It was fucking
Especially
good.
in the
It was
scene when she
great.
goes into no man's land, you're just like,
Yes,
but she can take it on.
She climbs out of the pit. And I'm like, oh yes.
And,
Go,
and the thing is, she's struggling too. She is a goddess, and she's still struggling against bullets and regular things that human-made weapons,
awesome.
basically. And this one, she struggles, but it's inconsistent, I guess.
Yeah. And that's I think that's what we're kind of picking up on as far as a consistent note from this is consistency.
Yeah.
There was some times where I was really engaged, and there's some times where I was just like, yeah, it's good, but it's not riveting me at the moment. So
I feel like I've enjoyed Wonder Woman and Aquaman better than I have recent Marvel movies, and that just makes me sad because Marvel's always been my
Infinity
game.
War.
Yeah, I liked it.
I just like
I hate Thanos. I don't know.
Okay.
He's purple.
Thanos, he's purple.
Is he though?
Summary of Infinity War.
Are you sure he's purple?
I'm not sure if Will
He
Smith
might
is
be
blue.
purple, so I don't.
This is the expert level analysis you've come to expect.
Yes. All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up for us.
Thanos is purple.
I invented my
Have
piece.
a good day.
You invented.
You heard it here
I
first.
invented.
Oh,
my
invented.
piece.
I thought you said invented your piece. It's like, sure, you did. That's a weird way to
He's
put
been
it.
in
For
the
sure.
workshop all day. Give him a break.
Actually, not today.
Yeah.
Whatever.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us on this episode of Inconceivable Spoiler Cast, Captain Marvel Edition. We will definitely be having more of these in the future. I think some things that were catching our eye was the second season of Cobra Kai is coming up. We'll definitely be doing something for that. We're excited. We are most likely doing something for Shazam.
Yeah, we are.
yeah.
Oh, we're definitely doing that.
And then, of course, not too far off, freaking Endgame. We're gonna have a long spoiler cast for that one. Obviously, I feel like that's going to be a normal episode's length.
We should go see it on like a Saturday morning so we can like really hammer out.
Yeah.
Like
I don't know if I can wait till Saturday morning. Is the problem?
Expect like a 3-hour podcast.
We'll see how that comes out. But so lots of fun things to look forward to. Make sure you're following us on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, and checking out our website at geekkind.tv. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Geek Kind. It's all pretty consistent throughout the platforms. But yeah, make sure you're following us all there. Keep in contact with our other content. We have another podcast called Coscast. If you like cosplay and other nerdy stuff, you can go there, listen to some fun conversations, and just, keep in tune for whatever fun things we have planned in the future. And with that, stay kind, geeks. Finger cans.
Inconceivable!